reshape the world. The story of how we came to write The Orange Umbrella parallels the narrative of the book itself. It kind of came out of nowhere. I was playing around with my buddy's Midjourney account, and one of the prompts that I entered returned an image of two kids holding an umbrella. I immediately thought that it could be a good basis for a kid's book, and began trying to flesh out as much detail as possible. A few days later, I shared the idea with JD, who cut his chops working in the entertainment industry, working on the first 2 seasons of a show called Rick and Morty, and who's done marketing and ad work for some of the biggest companies on earth. Over the next few months, we went back and forth, refining and polishing the story, and as eager as we were to finish the story and to tell it, the story itself seemed equally eager to be told. Beyond its apparent connotations to Bitcoin, for example, the color orange has some important meanings in Japanese culture. Orange symbolizes happiness, love, and courage, knowledge, civilization, the sun, and even good health. We started out wanting to make a Bitcoin kids book. There are dozens of fantastic Bitcoin books, but only a handful are geared towards kids. At the same time, as parents who read dozens of books to our kids, we wanted the story to be fun and interesting enough that we would want to read it to them. So we set out to create the Bitcoin kids book version of a Pixar movie. As much as the book is for kids, it's got a bunch of Easter eggs for adults too. We wanted the book to be the perfect gift for Bitcoiners to give their nieces and nephews, younger siblings, or even friends' kids. But most people don't yet value Bitcoin, and many others actively despise it. So we thought to ourselves, what if we wrote a Bitcoin book that never mentioned Bitcoin? What if we wrote a story about Bitcoin where understanding it was a bonus but not a prerequisite? We also decided that we didn't just want to create a lowest common denominator kids book. Most kids books are what I like to call, borrowing from Charlotte Mason, radioactive twaddle. They aren't designed to build kids up, but simply occupy their time. They primarily see children and their parents as consumers rather than people whose hearts, minds, and lives will necessarily be built up or torn down, and who in turn will either build up or tear down the world. We genuinely want this book, in some small way, to edify and build up you and your family for generations to come. Most of the stories that have stood the test of time and had the greatest impact on humanity contain poetry, from Shakespeare to the Bible to the Iliad and many more. So we decided to make the book rhyme, which made it take a lot longer to complete, but which, having done it, we wouldn't change for the world. The story of money is one of the most fascinating and consequential stories in the world. Yet very few people understand that history. Since getting into Bitcoin, we've come to love and see the importance of monetary history, and we want to create a story that teaches our kids to understand and love it too. We didn't use any AI to write the book, and it was important to us that the images in the book also be drawn by a person and not AI. After our first 2 illustrators needed to back out, we wondered if we would ever get the project across the finish line. But shortly thereafter, a friend introduced us to Karis, and she blew us away in fulfilling and improving upon our vision. Lastly, as it relates to the construction of the books themselves, we wanted to offer both high-quality baseline products as well as premium heirloom editions worthy of being passed down to your kids and grandkids through the years. As of right now, the text is totally complete and all the line art is done. We're just waiting for Karis to finish coloring the images before sending the books to the printers, and we expect to have the books in your hands by the end of the year. And now for the rewards. We have 3 different versions of the book. We have the Founder Edition in both paperback and hardcover, each made with photo book quality paper. We also have a Legacy Edition hardcover featuring heirloom quality sewn bindings, premium boards, and even better paper quality. We also have numbered editions of the heirloom editions. And then on top of that, we decided to make a coloring book with the book's line art. And that's available to give you and your kids a more interactive experience with the book. We're also partnering with Lena from Little Hodler to create limited edition Orange Umbrella Man plushies. You'll find out more about him later. As a stretch goal beyond the books themselves, we'll offer prints of the characters and several key scenes from the book. Inspired by the images in the trailer above, they will be limited edition, hand-numbered, and signed poster prints. We're also open to releasing digital and audiobook versions of the book going forward, but for right now, we want to focus on getting the print versions across the line. In terms of challenges and risks to the project, while we expect to have the book printed and shipped shortly after the Kickstarter campaign is completed, if there are many orders for signed and inscribed copies, it may take us a little bit longer. We hope to have all the rewards shipped as expeditiously as possible. There once was an island where it never rained. But it did rain once, spilling torrents of pain. So soaking and traumatic was the down that poured. It was how they marked time, after and before. In the storm's wake, all the isles, gals, and fellas frantically fashioned unorthodox umbrellas. At first they plotted and planned all together, weighing how best to weather the weather. Each thought their ideas and designs were first rate, and so, in due course, there rose heated debate. Using all that their fields, mines, and forests would yield, they honed, sewed, and crafted their aquaphobic shields. The others that escaped the deep hydrous tide were JC and Jack, whose parents had died, diving in unison, risking life and limb to rescue the babes from their storm-disturbed swim. It was love that propelled them to kick off the shore, but fate left two where once love had made four. The Orange Umbrella is the story of an island where it never rains, but where everyone, well, almost everyone, carries an umbrella. Each umbrella reflects its maker's values and aesthetic taste and seeks to counter what they perceive to be the biggest risks that a storm will bring. But it remains to be seen which umbrella will emerge unharmed when the storm actually arrives. And now the characters. Mr. Green, the brilliant creator of the Green Umbrella, the largest and lightest umbrella of all. Old Gould, the heir of the Golden Umbrella, the only umbrella that existed during the first storm. Old Gould brags about the power and historical provenance of the Goulden umbrella to anyone who will listen. Miss Holmes, the architect of the Great Housebrella. Miss Holmes combines her design prowess with comfort, a beautiful view, and practicality into an inhabitable umbrella. The Beach Bum. The Beach Bum hit his head during the first storm, causing him to forget that it ever happened. He thinks rain is a giant conspiracy theory, and that building umbrellas represents a waste of time worrying about something that will never happen. JC and Jack, an orphaned brother and sister pair who lost their parents during the original storm. They don't have anyone to care for them and live alone on the mountain peak. The Orange Umbrella Man, a mysterious figure who shows up on the island, warning of a greater storm than anyone has ever seen and wielding a unique umbrella to combat it.